Hi there. Today we are looking at the sixth line of gate 21. It is Wednesday, the 3rd of April. And at 12:41, the sun moved into the sixth line, activation of gate 21. Chaos and self-fulfillment are the themes that we'll be exploring today in the two lines. So control can lead to chaos, and a lack of control can lead to chaos. So it looks a bit like all roads lead to chaos. The moon, on the other hand, is leading us from fantasy into sensitivity. So would you like to join me then as I play with these keynotes in today's transits? The 21-6, chaos. We have a lifetime learning which says where ineffective action leads to disorder. So imagine a child who has this gate, who is trying to take control of everything. You know, they'll be in their third line phase for the first 21 years or so of their life. And so they're going to make some interesting discoveries around what it means to try and take control or to have control over anything in their lives. And yet at the same time, their life is about seeing what control is, because eventually they'll be up on the roof, they'll be, looking over the whole of that hexagram, and they'll be able to tap into the integrity of control. It's what they're here for, really. They can see what correct education is and how the tribe can be improved with a little bit of control here and there. This is a gate in a manifestor channel. Remember, manifestors have incredible impact. Just by their nature, they don't have to do anything and just get up and leave a room, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, where did they go? What did we say? Whether you know they're a manifestor or not, you might find that there is somebody like that in your life. They mightn't know who they are, and they might then inform you, and then the energy around it is completely different. This is part of the education, really, of our children. Manifestor children need to learn how to do that. And if they've got this gate of control, then this is definitely a flavor that's going to come out. So it says in the exaltation that where the ego is out of touch, the display of willpower leads to disorder. And Ra says that the ego is only ever out of touch when it is not taking into account the impact of control on others. Okay, so this is why really the strategy for manifestors is to inform. It's because of their impact. And people generally don't want to be controlled. So this is an energy that comes through. It's hard for them to accept control unless they are properly educated as to why they need control. Because most people are, I don't need to be controlled. I've got it. I've got my own back. I'm fine here. But then when they can learn why it's necessary, then you have a whole different dynamic coming through. Education. Again, there's so much about education here in this gate 21. At the beginning of the sixth line process, it gets burned. This is part of the process of the six lines. Remember that they don't have that inbuilt airbag or the resilience that the third line has. So although the third line also gets bashed around a little bit, they have the bounce back, whereas the sixth line doesn't quite have that in the same way. If it controls for the sake of control, then that's going to lead to all kinds of inappropriate action, and that's going to get them punished. Six lines are often punished as children. The ego is often punished just because it's the ego, it seems, really. Ra said that people with 21-6 are often wonderful people, as long as you're not responsible for bringing them up. Because by the time they've gone through all of the chaos associated with trying to take control and getting burned for their trouble, then there can be some interesting times involved with that. This line is called chaos. The 21-6 really knows what chaos is. They've been through that whole process. They know what it is, and they know how to avoid it as well, and ultimately they can become really good teachers of what chaos and control are about. And six lines can be really good teachers. There are role models. So the 21-6 has to go through the chaos until they learn the lesson that ineffective action leads to disorder. And not simply for yourself, but for others too. What is the point of spending a lot of energy in trying to control what somebody's going to wear if that action isn't actually going to materially improve life? This is a line really that is teaching acceptance. I can't change that, so I'm not even going to waste my energy trying. And there's a great wisdom in learning that lesson. It's in the St. Francis prayer, the Serenity Prayer. What I can change, what I can't change, and the wisdom to know the difference. And there's a little bit of that, what I can control, what I can't control, and the wisdom to know the difference. And remember that the sixth line, it only really wants to invest its energy in something if there's something in it for them, and once they've been burned for controlling when they're young and they go up on the roof, they really don't want to bother anymore. They withdraw. Withdrawal being a third line keynote for this gate 21. They don't want to face the chaos that can come with trying to control. And this is where we really reach the message of the whole hexagram. Control is not legitimate unless it brings the valued education that eliminates resistance to control. This is the whole point of learning about gate 21 and how to meet its energies and how to work with its energies. Control is not legitimate unless it brings the valued education that eliminates resistance to control. Control has to be acceptable to the ones being controlled. And it can only be acceptable through education. It comes back to this again and again. If people are educated properly and they still don't want to be controlled, well, okay, maybe we need to let those ones go. So all through this gate 21, we have themes of education and respect and a certain degree of honor, actually, too. So the earth in 48.6 is called self-fulfillment, and it has the lifetime learning line of an undiminished resource. This is the well that won't ever run dry. And there's again a sense of acceptance coming through that, accepting that this can't ever stop. This resource that I am is so full and it's always being topped up. It can't ever run out. And part of the self-fulfillment here is that in the well, which is this other name of the gate of depth, the more it gives, the more it receives, and then it has more to give. It's a really beautiful, and it's back to that infinity sign, I guess, that comes through quite a lot. The sixth line, it has depth. It has an understanding that they're not really inadequate, which is the fear of this gate. But they also don't really care about it anymore. The sixth line, it's aloof. Remember, that's one of its keynotes. But part of the process of the sixth line is to be called down from the roof to be our role model, to share what they've learned, to share their understanding, and to become of value to the collective. And this brings a feeling of self-fulfillment. So now in terms of being the grounding agency to the chaos in the 21.6, this is the 48, which is being selective as to who it shares its resources with, so that what it has is truly valued from the people that it shares with. It has its depth that needs to be of use to gate 21, who is working through all the chaos and then can find value through the grounding in the resources that the 48 has to maybe bring education to the tribe. Maybe without self-fulfillment, there will be chaos. Could look at it in that way too. A 21.6 can tap into the incredible resources of the 48 and ground into them. Feel the foundation that is inherent in the 48, that is there for the common good. The moon. The moon has just left the gate of limitations, gate 60 in the root center. And at 12:33, it transited into gate 41. So we're staying in the root for all of the moon transits at the moment. This is the gate of decrease. It's the gate where we prune back in order to encourage growth in times to come. And this is the start of the human experiential way. And there can be fantasy here, maybe fantasizing about the new experience, maybe driven by a pressure coming out of that root to begin something new. So you could have some awareness around any expectations that you have, maybe any fantasies that you have, maybe checking in with whether it is actually correct for you to start a new experience right now. And later on at 22:06, and remember this is all GMT, even though the clocks have changed now, all GMT still. So we have gate 19 later on. This is where we find sensitivity in the gate of wanting. So this is tribal gate now, and this is a gate that is really sensitive to the needs of the tribe. And that being sensitive to the needs, another side of that is neediness. There can be a neediness here, maybe needing the support, not just of the whole tribe, maybe there's just one other that you want, that you're kind of, maybe clinging to a little bit. So that could be something to be aware of today. Nothing wrong with it. No, never, there's no blame, no shame with any of this. It's an awareness of how are we behaving in our world today? How are we meeting what life is bringing to us? And maybe today I'm being a bit needy, or I'm being a bit sensitive. Well, neediness can maybe touch off sensitivity. Maybe someone who refuses to give us the support we think we need or we want, then that can spark off a bit of sensitivity. So all of these things can play together, and none of them is better or worse or more right or less right or any of that nonsense. That's all in the mind. What's happening in your body? What's your lived experience here? So maybe you could bring some awareness to, I don't know, what do you feel that you want in your life, or what do you feel you need in your life? This gate of wanting, needs, and sensitivity. How does it feel to you if you were to open your fridge and there would be nothing in there? Because this is a very strong theme that's in this gate 19, because it makes sure that there's enough to feed the tribe. That's one of the basic wants and needs of our tribe, is that they have to be fed. So how does it feel if there's no food in the fridge? So these are things, again, you could play with it in the transit. I mean, obviously you don't have to go and empty your fridge. You could just imagine it. That would be maybe a bit more hard work than is necessary. Go and start emptying your fridge. But you can also do it with your wardrobes. If you open your wardrobe and you've got no clothes in there, how would that feel? Oh, it's like walking into an empty room. Does that feel freeing? Or does that feel like, oh, there's nothing in here for me to get hold of? There's nothing in here that's feeding me, that's supporting me. Oh, play, just play. So that's it for today. We have a new gate tomorrow. We're moving into gate 51, which is another ego gate, and this is their gate of shock. So, as always, be kind to your lovely selves and go gently, and I shall see if I can turn this off properly. And I will see you in gate 51. Thank you for watching.